I am on page 38. This is talking about more geometry vocabulary, types of angles. And I have taken the time to color my circle using some highlighter or colored pencils would be fine. And I would encourage you to stop the video and do the same. Just pause the video, color your circle segments, and then we'll talk about those. Okay, there are 5 types of angles that you need to know. And we'll start with this yellow section. You can see that this is colored from 0 up to 90. So let me get some space over here. This is the acute angle section. So acute angles measure 0 degrees up to 90. If you wrote this mathematically, you would say that an acute angle is more than 0, or 0 is no angle, so we can say more than 0, but less than 90. Not less than or equal to. It cannot be 90. Has to be less than 90. Can be 89.9, but not 90. So these are the acute angles, and when I was learning these, I thought of them as the baby angles, the cute little angles. They are less than 90 degrees. So anything in this yellow sector is going to fit that description. I like this drawing because it shows you, if you draw the ray in there right on, say, 30 degrees, it lets you see a 30-degree angle. So let me make that a little darker. If you draw right on 30, you can see that you're making a 30-degree angle right here, which I really like. But this is a circular protractor. Most protractors are just 90 degrees, but this, or sorry, 180 degrees, a half circle. But I like this one because it lets me see the whole circle, which is 360. Okay, when you get to exactly 90 degrees, you have a right angle. There is no such thing as a left angle. That's a very good question, but there isn't. It's a right angle. And this one measures exactly 90 degrees. So this one is not an inequality. A right angle is equal to 90 degrees constant. There's no room for variation. And it is 90 degrees, of course. It's going to be that 90-degree line. It's often has a symbol, is a square. And I'll show you not that. It needs to be a perfect square. Oh boy, I'm not doing very well today. That'll work. That's the symbol for perpendicular. So for example, if you draw a ray that's perfectly vertical and a ray that's perfectly horizontal, which those are not, try again. That's where this dot grid paper comes in very handy. There's the horizontal. That is a 90-degree angle. It has to be precisely 90 degrees to warrant having that symbol. So I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller so that you can see it a little bit better. But even collapsing it up like that or rotating it around doesn't change the fact that it's 90 degrees. I'm not changing the relationship between those two rays, and that's what's 90 degrees. So the symbol for 90 degrees is the square. Let me highlight this one. I think I'm going to use orange. I can't highlight it on the grid, or I'll use green. That's fine. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees. Regardless of which way it's facing, it is still called a right angle. Okay, then we get over into this blue section. These are the obtuse angles, and those range from more than 90 up to 180. So if you wrote it, let's say in words first, more than 90. So 90.1 is obtuse, but less than 180. So writing it mathematically, we would say that an obtuse angle is less than 180, but bigger than 90. And I guess I shouldn't put that line through there, but that's an O. And that is the blue section. Obtuse. And again, if you look at an actual ray lying there, let's make it come right through here. So the obtuse part is all of this. This one always made me think of leaning back in a lawn chair or a recliner. So that one is 130 degrees. Let me draw one that's even more obtuse. Let's do 170. Okay, and you can see this one is a very wide angle. This one is almost lying back in the recliner to be flat. So 170 degrees is very obtuse. Okay, once you get to 180, you are no longer in the obtuse range. 180 degrees exactly is called a straight angle. So right is exactly 90. A straight angle is exactly 180. So if you write that in mathematical terms, you would say a straight angle is 180. Exactly. It cannot go even the hair's width above that or below that. It is spot on 180 degrees. And if you have that situation, you have a straight angle. Exactly 180. And then this large pink section at the bottom, once you pass 180, you are into the reflex angles. This is not reflux, that's heartburn. Reflex is anything more than 180. It could be 180.1, it could be 720, but anything more than 180 is a reflex angle. So reflex is greater than 180 degrees. Okay, just a couple other things that I want you to know here. Some angle lingo. Just a little bit of knowledge I think you might already know, but let's be sure. A complete circle, any complete circle has 360 degrees. A half circle or a semicircle. What's half of 360? 180, which is also a straight angle. Quadrants. That is a term that you sometimes see. Quad means 4, but let's look at why that's true. So there's my perfect circle, which we know to have how many degrees? 360. So I'm going to cut it this way. There's a straight angle. Here is another straight angle. And there are 4 quadrants. This is quadrant 1. Those are done by Roman numerals. Quadrant 2. Quadrant 3. and quadrant 4. And each of those, what's 360 divided by 4? 90. So you have a perpendicular situation happening right there. So each of those sections is 90 degrees. Let me try that a little bit better. Still not. When I get this detailed, it's hard to keep it straight. There we go. Close enough. So 90, 90, 90, 90, total of 360. Okay, that's just a brief introduction to angles, but if you know those types and those definitions, you will help yourself tremendously.